Ooh. Hi guys! I am filming from my little brother and sister's room. I am staying here while I stay in Bangkok with my dad, my little brother and sister and their mum, which is really cool because it means I get the chance just to chill out for a little bit, have my own space, but it does mean I have to vlog on this bed with little teddies on it. It's kind of cute. What I wanted to film today is my top tips of surviving Southeast Asia. One big problem a lot of backpackers and a lot of travellers come across is getting ripped off. And in Southeast Asia, the locals have a great grasp on the tourism industry, and they realise that maybe our pound or our dollar is worth a lot more than maybe the baht or dong. So one thing to be really careful about is not getting ripped off. And one way to be able to do that is to really understand the currency of where you're going to. So for instance, if you go to Vietnam, it's all in dong, and 21,000 dong is equal to $1. So that's 34,000 dong equal to £1. So you need to get your head around it and know exactly how much 300,000 dong is, so that when you get in that first taxi out of the train station or the airport or wherever, you know exactly what you're spending. But also you need to understand what the value of everything is in a different country. So you may sit in a taxi for half an hour and it comes to the equivalent of £7, but actually maybe that's too much for the country that you're in. So you really need to grasp a good idea about what currency you're spending, so you can barter, so you can avoid getting ripped off too much. Because remember, if you're travelling and you don't have a job, every penny that you spend or every pound that you spend is a pound closer towards the end of your trip. 2. Don't drink the tap water. Some people can get away with it. There are some rumours here in Bangkok to say that it is now possible to drink the tap water, but remember, as a foreigner, you have been exposed to different bacteria and different bugs as a baby, and therefore you may not be immune to the things that some of the locals are. So if you want to avoid getting sick and you're worried about getting sick when you're away, buy bottled water. I know it's not very environmentally friendly, but you definitely want to keep safe and you don't want to get sick. So that's the way to do it. 3. Mosquito repellent. Always carry mosquito repellent. And the after stuff as well. I've got this really good stuff which is like a menthol, and it makes you can feel the menthol on it on the bite rather than the itchiness. The mosquitoes in Southeast Asia are horrible. I hate them so much. They will find you wherever you are. Beware of them, because the bites that you get are not like the ones you get back in the UK. They grow to like this big, and then some of them pus, and then they scar all the way down my leg here. I've got like a bit of a tan, and then I've got all of these little white dots where I've had bites. So not everywhere is going to provide you with a mosquito net, and maybe if you're out at the pub by the beach or something, having a drink, make sure you're covered. I would recommend at least 80% DEET. Try and get as much of it as you can before you leave the country, because it does get more difficult to find it over here with such a high percentage of DEET in it. 4. Always travel with a jumper. Southeast Asia is hot, okay? It's humid. It's like 36 degrees today and really humid. We're in like hot season, we're just approaching rain season. Literally, you go outside and you're just sweating. But because it's so hot everywhere, all the shops inside, all the restaurants inside, if you are doing a long bus journey or you're in the airport waiting for 4 hours and you're on a plane, the aircon is so high that you actually get cold because you're getting so used to the heat, and when you walk in it just hits you. It is really freezing, trust me, always carry a jumper with you just to make sure that you stay warm, because if you're on a bus for 8.5 hours and you're cold, it is really miserable. 5. Always carry tissues and hand sanitizer with you. In Southeast Asia, the majority of the locals will use a spray rather than toilet paper when they go to the loo. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but basically, if you go to the toilet and it's an actual toilet, then that's great, it's your lucky day. But I guarantee they're probably not going to have toilet paper, and they probably won't have soap. It's definitely getting better. I was here 8 years ago and most of the toilets were a hole in the ground and you'd have to take your own tissue and all that. Places are definitely getting better, but you don't want to get caught out at the wrong moment. So hand sanitizer and tissues are a must always. 6. Always dress appropriately for the culture that you're in. Remember, a lot of Southeast Asia are Buddhists, which means they respect Buddha and the temples by keeping themselves covered. So if you want to go to the Grand Palace, if you want to go to major temples, if you want to go to Angkor in Cambodia, you are expected to have your shoulders covered, and then your trousers need to cover your knees. So be aware of it. You don't want to be that tourist who's dressed inappropriately. In Thailand, they won't let you into the temples and they will ask you to buy some trousers. In Cambodia, the Cambodians are kind of too sweet and too shy to tell you around Angkor, but I just feel like if you want to go and see a different culture and stay in somebody else's city, then the best thing to do is really be respectful of the place that you are at. The other one, which a lot of people don't know, is that Thais don't wear bikinis on the beach unless they are a bar girl. Now, it's maybe a little bit too much to ask people just to wear a t-shirt and shorts when they swim, just like the locals. The Thais and everyone are totally relaxed and totally chilled, and they just think, you know, they're tourists, they're foreign, it's okay. But it's just good to be aware of it. If you're on Phuket or some really touristy island, then it's generally going to be fine. 7. Always book a hotel with a safety deposit box. Now, this isn't essential, but it's definitely on my list of surviving Southeast Asia, because the last thing you want to be doing is carrying your passport and all your cash and your camera or your GoPro or your iPhone with you all the time. It's actually quite a lot of stuff in the end. I end up being dragged down. Like, my bag started to get really heavy and it was starting to frustrate my shoulders and things. So if you are able to, it's probably likely it's going to cost a little bit more money, but a lot of the hostels do lockers rather than safety deposit boxes. So do your research, have a look on TripAdvisor and see what other travellers are saying and whether they worked or not, whether they were safe. But I really recommend using a safety deposit box, because you can just put everything in there and you know you don't have to worry about it. A lot of hotels will offer to take your passport for you and put in a drawer, which is probably fine, and I'm sure a lot of people don't have a problem with. There was one place in Vietnam where they just had the passports all in a drawer that was open and everybody walking past could see them. I just felt a little bit uncomfortable. I'd rather have just kept it on myself and put it in the safety deposit box rather than leave it in an open drawer, but that's just because I suffer from passport paranoia, which you can listen to in one of my other blogs. 8. Loads of people worry about getting sick when they are travelling because of the food. In Southeast Asia, there's one rule which I would generally recommend. Okay, it's not going to work 100% of the time, but I think it's pretty good. And that is, eat places where lots of people are eating already. So in the UK and probably in America as well, we eat places where there's a nice looking restaurant. So there's a fountain, or you know, the staff are really good and dressed really nicely. Those things really matter to us in the West, but actually over here it's all about the food. You can go and eat in a garage, but if the food is good, then it will be packed. So just remember that rule when you're here, and it will help you avoid getting sick. Alright, well, good luck with your travelling, everybody. If you have any other tips for any other travellers, please do tweet me, or please do comment on the video below and see if we can help more and more aspiring travellers or people who are already out and about. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye!